Hi, I'm Mary Sikanowicz, and this is my mind map that I created in order to introduce my unit on writing, the one that I want to teach for this class. Um, the Notice the center of my mind map here. It's the type of writing that we're going to do is informative, explanatory writing. Um, the the content area will be science, and the subject will be weather. I chose weather because it was a topic that I felt that my students already knew quite a bit about. Um, the students that I will be working with are all exceptional learners. They all have IEPs. They're in my full inclusion class this year. They're fourth graders. So I felt that weather was a topic that they knew enough about, that they could handle looking, they would understand the information and understand the topic. And so the first thing that we have to do in the uh, writing process is pre-writing, the pre-writing stage. And if you notice, that's one of the biggest areas of my mind map. And I'm just going to zoom in a little bit so that we can see it a little better. Of course, before you even write, you have to come up with an idea. Going to do some brainstorming, activate some prior knowledge. In order to do that, I already worked with my students on this a little bit, and I wanted them to discuss their ideas. They were excited about writing about the weather. They wanted to take it a step further and write about extreme weather. So they talked with their peers, and we talked in a group about the different types of extreme weather they could write about. They chose their topics. And another thing we spoke about was whenever you write, you need to decide what's your purpose for writing. And obviously, this is going to be to inform, and who your audience will be. And they're going to be writing for each other. They're going to be informing each other, and they're going to be writing for me. The next step that we moved to was they have to build some more knowledge. They don't have enough background knowledge and information on the subject. So some of them were so excited that they actually went home and started looking up their type of weather on the internet, and a few of them got books from the library during school. And I also found a few texts that I'd like to use for mentor texts. I'm going to use a website, weatherwithkids.com. It's a great website. I like the way it's written. My students all have IEPs, so they read at a much lower grade level than fourth grade. There's some of the second, third grade level. So I feel like the way this website is organized and written, the text, it's very accessible to them. Another thing that I found for a mentor text, which was great, Kids Discover. It's a website that has informational text, but this KD2 Kids is kind of like a magazine type text. And the Lexile level was very reasonable. The Lexile level was third grade, and a lot of photos and captions and diagrams, very visually appealing. So I think it'll be another good source for my kids to find information. And then I'd also like them to view a few weather reports, extreme weather reports on YouTube. I think that'll be interesting for them and be helpful. Within this area, I'd like to do a few mini lessons, maybe a mini lesson on cause and effect, because that is an organizational structure that authors use when they're writing expository text. Something that I'd like my students to use, cause and effect, within their writing. I think that lends itself well to weather, the topic. And then another mini lesson on how to highlight or find important information in expository text. I think that's a really difficult skill, pulling out the pieces of information that are important and that they find interesting and they want to use, and that works within their topic and within their ideas. The next thing we're going to do after we have all our information is we're going to try and organize some of this information, organize our ideas, and I would like them to use a graphic organizer. I found another wonderful source online, readwritethink.org, has an interactive essay map graphic organizer, and I love it. There's a section for this children to use to write their introduction, their main ideas, the details, the conclusion, and it just moves the student from one area to the next. And I also liked it because it gave very specific information about what to put in each area. In the Like, it told them they can list that when for the main ideas, that they should be important facts, points they'd like to explain. The introduction area, it told them to write 1 or 2 sentences to introduce their topic, to include a brief description of their main idea. So we're going to work with that graphic organizer. And then after we've done all this pre-writing and all this background work and gotten all our information, we're finally going to go on to the drafting portion of the unit and the writing process. And that's where I'd like to do another mini lesson on working on building strong paragraphs and helping the students understand how they need to use related ideas within each paragraph and have their topic sentences and supporting details that support those topic sentences. So I think we're going to do a mini lesson on that. And then we're going to go into the revision process. We'll be doing some peer editing, even if it's just for my students to sit with each other and tell each other something that they liked about their peers' writing, and maybe something that they think they could add to it. They could do it together with one other student. We will be doing teacher conferencing. My students need specific visuals and checklists to know, to direct them what they're supposed to do. So I will have a revising checklist so they know what features they need in their expository writing and what they need to include to make sure that they have everything there, like topic sentences, conclusion, things like that. A mini lesson in the revision area I'd like to do is on word choice. Since we're using cause and effect, I'd like to use linking words like however and as a result. So we'll do a mini lesson on how to do that. And then finally, we're going to go into the editing portion. Well, it's not finally, we're getting close to the end. And the editing portion of the writing process. And I will also be having an editing checklist that talks about punctuation and capitalization and spelling. I will probably have the students sit together again, even if it's just to try and help each other figure out where they're missing capital letters and where they're missing punctuation and what kind of spelling errors they have. I'd like to maybe do another mini lesson in this area on using commas in linking clauses, since that's something that we've kind of been talking about from the beginning, that cause and effect. And then finally, after we go through the whole process, we will move to the publishing section of the writing process. And along with, I originally thought maybe I would just have them do a weather report, but I really wanted them to create a written product that put together and organized all this information and put it together so that they could, it's a difficult process for them, and I wanted them to go through the whole process. And then I thought, as something fun, they could present the information that they found on their type of extreme weather as a weather report, and have some photos with some captions. And I thought maybe I would just create a simple template that they can put information in and then report to their peers. And if you notice, I'm going to zoom back out again. I did put this I tried to relate it to the theme of extreme weather, but as I was creating this, I was saying, for my students, the whole writing process, and even for myself, because I'm not really don't feel very strong about teaching it, it can be a very stormy process for them. It's very frustrating. So we're going to try and get through it, and hopefully at the end of the rainbow, we'll be able to have some work that they can be proud of and have some fun doing their weather report.